is, so we always have to have it explained. Hey,
Listen,
now
listen. Sometimes when
That's
your
what she
fingers just
said.
that-
That's what she said.
No.
It is. Although it is 11:15 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Savings Time, that means only one thing: the Late Night with T3 is live.
It's
Is live. Episode number 67. Our Avengers Endgame spoiler discussion. We have a stacked panel today. Starting off with our fellow Canadian, Sandy. Sandy, how are you doing on this fine Friday night?
On the surface, I am well-mannered Clark Kent, all happy and everything like that. But below, I'm a churning amount of emotions, like a river and an ocean crashing together. Now I'm doing good, Brooklyn. How about you?
Doing dandy. Also going to go to a fellow Take 3 member, Matt Kurtz.
Hi. I'm ready to talk about Endgame. This is my poster that I was given for free, and this is those times when, hey guys, you can like both because I also have that. See, we can live in harmony together.
Our resident time travel expert, as he got to see Endgame in the future, Malcolm, was it any better seeing it in the future?
Oh yeah,
Malcolm, explain the time travel of Endgame.
Oh,
to me,
don't start.
they explained the time travel that worked in their universe perfectly. So yeah.
And Abe is here. Abe is here only to play games.
Yeah, I'm actually playing Tetris right now. I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. And then we have two people making their late night with Take 3 debuts. There's the multiplex admins who have jumped ship, or not jumped ship, but are just getting their feet in the water here. That is one little boat. Little boat. You do not like smoked meat sandwiches, although you did see Endgame, so you are no longer a full-fledged terrorist. I will call you a part-time terrorist.
I mean, to be fair, I've never actually had a Montreal smoked meat sandwich.
So you're gonna have Montreal smoked meat sandwich, and then you're gonna thank me later, and then you're gonna say to Sean Sandberg, why are you degrading such a beautiful meat?
I mean, you're probably right.
But speaking of beautiful, co-commissioner of movie Warzone, Brian Michaels, also known as the Family Gambrel. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm just hoping this is spoiler-free discussion because I haven't seen it yet, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're good.
So if you haven't already determined by the titles, there is a massive spoiler cap in the title. We will be doing a spoiler heavy review of Endgame.
Get out.
But first, let's do a nice little warm-up game of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. How it's going to work is I am going to start. I am going to say actor was in movie with other actor. Then Abe will go next. Abe will say that other actor was in a different movie with another actor. We're going to keep going throughout that until you can't think of one, or you repeat it. There are franchise rules in play. If it comes back to Kevin Bacon, you get a save for later. What else am I missing here?
I don't know. You took my job, so I guess you know all the rules there.
I mean, we'll probably. Oh yes.
What's the name
Right.
that gets the host of this channel? Oh, whatever it is.
I'd watch in Rookaville. Also, Sandy, we are not playing shenanigans. We are playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. We are not playing shenanigans.
I was going to ask.
Shenanigans on
So no shenanigans this time, but Malcolm just created shenanigans, so it's all good now.
So the order is I'm going to ask Abe. Abe's going to ask Sandy. Sandy is going to ask Currens. Currens is going to ask Malcolm. Malcolm's going to ask Boatman. Boatman's going to ask Brian, and then Brian's going to go right back to me. So, because this is a spoiler discussion, Robert Downey Jr. was in Avengers Endgame with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth was in.
I'm sorry. He's like, this is a spoiler discussion. Hey guys, Iron Man and Thor are in the same Avengers movie. Sorry.
Kern's creating
Chris
havoc
Hemsworth
already.
was in. What's the name of that movie that Ron Howard directed? In the Heart of the Sea with Tom Holland.
All right. Tom Holland was in Spider-Man: Homecoming with Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei was in My Cousin Vinny. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to change it. Marissa Tomei was in What Women Want with Mel Gibson. Changed it. Come one for the easy with her.
Uh-oh.
What?
Fact, I'm going to go with this. Mel Gibson was in Lethal Weapon with Danny Glover.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Danny Glover was in Proud Mary with Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, look at that.
Because that's what I can think of.
Boatman coming in hot already.
All right. Taraji P. Henson was in Hustle and Flow with Terrence Howard.
Nice.
You're muted, Brooklyn.
Yep.
I can't hear you.
He doesn't look muted. We can't hear you though.
Yeah.
Now it's muted. Now you're not muted.
No? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
no, we
Okay,
got
now we
you.
can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, Terrence Howard was in Iron Man with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow or whatever was he in Shakespeare in Love with Judi Dench?
All right. Judi Dench was in Everything with Everyone.
There's an easy place you can go.
She is the English female equivalent to Samuel L. Jackson.
I know, I'm telling you.
Except more badass.
Man, this is so embarrassing. Why can't I remember more Judi Dench movies? Judi Dench was in Queen Elizabeth with some other English guy. I'm out. Fuck.
Ooh, the James Bond movies from
Ah,
Brian.
damn it. See, you know, like, you can't do this to me on this day. I mean, seriously.
So do I
All right.
start?
So, no, Matt gets to start fresh.
Okay.
Sad Sandy.
I'm sorry, Sandy.
All around me are familiar faces.
Skyfall.
John Candy was in Baseballs with Bill Pullman.
Paul Pullman, did you say?
Yes. Lone Star.
That's. I hope I don't do this up as I get these two mixed up. Bill Pullman was on Independence Day with Will Smith.
Yes.
Phew.
God.
I always get him and Bill Paxton mixed up with their movies.
Will Smith was in Ali with John Voight.
Good
All
one.
right. John Voight was with. Oh, how mean do I want to be?
We're past round one, so you can start axing people off. Like,
Or you could go with James White
Dick,
route and just be dick come round one.
yeah, dick punches are now activated.
They're activated.
John Voight was in National Treasure Book of Secrets with Diane Kruger.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
That's that one.
Oh,
Diane Kruger.
me
was-
and Matt have one for sure.
Diane
Yeah.
Kruger was in fucking Die Hard with Bruce Willis.
Oh,
I have no
Is
idea.
that right?
No,
No.
that's
no,
wrong.
she's not in Die Hard.
Oh.
Okay, so can I ask someone?
What,
Yeah.
Diane Kruger?
You're starting
No.
fresh.
Yeah, I know. Let's see the posters on the wall.
Oh my god! It's always my favorite. He always says to us, he's like, and let's check the poster one day. Mind you, he has to see 3 posters every time we play this game. So guys,
Okay.
it's coming from
Robin Williams was with Amanda Plummer in The Fisher King.
Oh, great choice. Love
Got
it.
a new poster, I guess. Oh wait, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so who do I have?
Amanda
Amanda Plummer.
Amanda Plummer.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm taking a guess here. It's probably not her. I'm thinking of another Robin Williams movie. Amanda Plummer was in. No, I can't. Yeah, I'm out. I thought she
Dude,
was
it's
in.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
She's in Pulp Fiction.
Okay, I thought she was in.
You
Honey
say
Bunny.
that 3 posters on my wall.
I thought she was in. I thought she was in. She was the one from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but
Oh, I don't
think
know.
Sure, anyway. Mind you, I can't name anyone else from that movie. Well, I'm out. Fuck you.
So it's
Okay.
Malcolm, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Daniel Radcliffe was in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone with Dame Maggie Smith.
Okay.
No. Oh,
Maggie Smith
what the fuck?
was in Gosford Park with
Ooh.
Brian Felipe. Or Philippe, however you pronounce it.
Oh,
Okay.
Caleb. Could have went deeper on that one.
Probably.
Yeah,
but-
I was worried he was going to. All right. Let's go. Ryan Phillippe was in Antitrust with Claire Forlani.
The
Okay.
fuck is Claire
The
Forlani?
fuck?
I have
Um,
5 movies about her.
can I just? You know what? I'm not even gonna fact check.
I don't
that.
know, dude.
Believe that. Oh, if that's good or not.
Abe,
What's
get
her
off
name?
the internet. Get off the internet, Abe.
I'm telling you, I don't know.
Then you say I lose.
No, I told you, I don't know. I'm Googling her just to see who she
I
is.
think he's saying he's out, but he's googling her just to see for himself now.
I'd like
Like-
to Google her.
I have no idea who she is.
Yeah,
She was
Michael's
in
ain't
Meet
wrong.
Joe Black. She was in
She was
Yeah,
in
sorry.
Chasing.
That's
Or no,
yeah.
she was in Mallrats.
All right.
Wait, who was this again?
Claire Forlani.
Oh, she's Brandy.
Mhm.
And she's also in The Rock. She's in
The Rock?
Listen, I know
Oh.
I've been locked away for years, but I still fucking love you.
Oh yeah, that's his daughter. That's his
Daughter.
daughter.
That's
Yeah.
his daughter.
No.
Yeah.
Eh, I would know her.
So it's
I don't
Malcolm.
know.
It is me.
Yeah.
I just want to say Malcolm said a Philosopher's Stone again. And what the name
Just
of
do
the movie?
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. You know you want to.
Right. Matthew Broderick was in The Producers with Nathan Lane.
Okay, I gotta think of a good one so that I can get Brian out here.
Yeah. Why am I after Caleb? This sucks.
Do you know how I feel being after James White last time?
Brian and 6 Degrees Kept Bacon is literally the equivalent of bringing a gun to a knife place.
For James's first show, he didn't hold back.
No.
When it came to 6 degrees, and I
All right, I'm about to call time on Caleb.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That, by the way, saying okay doesn't give you extra time
Yeah,
on
no.
the
Okay,
thing.
Brian's gonna get this, but I don't care. Nathan Lane was in Stuart Little
Oh
with
man.
Jeffrey Jones.
Was Jeffrey Jones in that movie?
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones is Hugh Laurie's brother.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey
that's right,
Jones was in jail for child porn with. Jeffrey Jones was in. Let's go. Beetlejuice with Catherine O'Hara.
Mm.
Better know this one.
Oh, there's a huge dick punch here, Malcolm. I fucking if I could like
He's not gonna do a
telepath
dick
you.
punch, but at least if he gets the obvious one, I'll be happy.
No, there's a massive dick
There's
punch
a
here.
massive dick punch.
Well, I mean, I know the name Kevin O'Hara, but I really can't think of any movies she's been in. I really can't.
When you miss, I'm gonna give you the dick punch that would win you the game.
And I'll give you the obvious one.
Well, I mean, that was me saying I'm missing.
Oh, okay. Home Alone was the obvious one. She's the mom in Home Alone.
She was
So-
in there.
So,
Yeah, she's been
Catherine O'Hara was in one of the greatest animated movies ever, Over the Hedge, with Avril Lavigne.
Done.
And
One of the
Bruce Willis
greatest
and William
movies
Shatner.
ever.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't matter about the other people in the movie. Try to find another Avril Lavigne movie.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Done.
I'm just saying, I'm still saying, that was the cast they had, guys. What the fuck?
Okay.
Who's left? It's
Oh, he
down
gets
to
to start
the
fresh? No, I'm really
the
screwed.
Warzone duo.
It's multiplex.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get a one-hit KO.
Immediately,
here.
Sandy takes a drink. He's like, oh, this going to be
Can-
good.
Can somebody
Okay.
starting around do a one-hit KO, or somebody only has one movie? Can somebody starting around do that?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's called the Honor the Giant rule.
it's
You
you know,
can do
Oh.
whatever you want when it's your turn.
Okay, I wanna make sure.
Four,
Okay,
three, two, one. Time's up.
bye, Brian. Zac Efron was in High School Musical 3 senior year with Corbin Blue.
Oh, I have one for that.
Oh, I think I've got
Oh.
one.
I have one for
too.
that.
I have one, but it was not theatrically released.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's
The
got
only one I
theatrically
know.
released?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Oh.
Yeah, this 3 was released.
I know of another one. Oh, he was young, but what the fuck was that? Oh,
Oh my god, wait, I just got it in my head now. Ah!
Corbin Blue was in Caleb's bed last night. I don't know.
Corbin Blue was in Catch That Kid with Kristen Stewart.
I loved that movie when I was a kid.
That's fucking awesome movie.
Great.
Yeah.
See, the TV one, I was like, he was in Jump In with Kiki Palmer.
But you
then-
know,
Also,
oh sorry.
Dude,
Yeah,
dude has got a decent. He's got a decent IMDb. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I didn't know he was
Yeah,
in half of
good
it.
I've seen him in something else when he
Also,
was younger,
by the
yeah.
way, Brooklyn, Avril Lavigne was in Fast Food Nation with Bruce Willis.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you know who wasn't in Fast Food Nation? Avengers Endgame.
What a
Awful segue.
segue.
It's just a horrendous segue. So yeah, we're now going to start talking about Endgame. So for some reason, if you are here and you have not yet watched the movie, first of all, what the fuck are you doing? Go watch Endgame and then come back here. Just use that time machine. But yeah. So what I love about Endgame is that they start off right away with a patented late night dick punch and just start off with Hawkeye before the snap, and then it just like gets you right in the feels. And anybody else was like, I'm almost in tears, and we're like maybe 30 seconds into the movie.
I did. I'm not. When he's looking around for his daughter after she, like, hey, just go get your arrow out of there, and then like all it is a turn around to see the wife, and then turn around and he loses her, and you see the actual dust.
dust.
Like he doesn't see it, but we see it, and yeah, like I automatically got that
Hey,
kind
man.
of feeling to it. So I felt for him. I thought it was the best way possible to remind us what had happened was to start with that, because we didn't get to see Hawkeye in Infinity War, and then we get to see him right off the bat, and we saw him in the commercials as Ronin, as somebody who just doesn't give a shit. Now we know why. So that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all saw it coming, but still, it was like, oh my god.
Yeah, as a kid who's had a crush on Linda Cardellini since she was a guest on Boy Meets World, I was like, fuck you, Thanos.
You know, and what I loved about it was like there was no like warning that the movie was starting or anything. It was like it jumped straight in, and we see Hawkeye like,
Yeah.
okay, we're doing this now, and it was like that just hits you to the gut.
But
Like,
to be more serious, like I also think it was like, because yeah, most people, like, we all watched Infinity War right before we went to theater to see this and everything, but it is a nice, like, just to reestablish what happened, even on the small scale of just Hawkeye, of just like, oh yeah, people like saw their whole families taken away from them in a flash. To just
Well, also, unlike the
reestablish
Avengers, the Avengers at least knew why it happened. People on this farm were just like, "What the hell's going on?"
That's true, yeah. Like
They had no
Hawkeye-
idea why he just suddenly
Yeah.
disappeared.
Exactly. That's why it was so brutal. It was just to start us off with that. That was why it was so much of a punch to the gut, was because we didn't know it was coming, and we usually get no little, like Caleb said, like we usually get the whole like Avengers logo and then the movie starts, but to fade from black to that and then to see it all happen again, it was it just started.
Yeah,
to
Go ahead.
and with another moment that's going to come later with the other character which didn't show up in Infinity War, but Ant-Man. This is like these two scenes were both ones that kind of needed to be sort of shown. Well, I mean, like the Ant-Man one is slightly different because we already saw that at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, but with this one felt like they'd originally planned for it to be a post-credits scene, but then they thought, well, actually, no, we'll put it at the start of this so it reestablishes what had happened, just in case people don't want to rewatch before, sort of show what happened. It was, I mean, everyone sort of wondered, and it shows the catalyst for why Hawkeye becomes who he does later on in the movie.
Yeah, why Clint becomes Ronin. Like you establish, and you're like, yeah, no, I can see why you went super crazy. Because especially you got to think when he found out why it happened. That also leads into why he does what he does in the movie.
Yeah, and just a little thing I love. I love that we never actually see them be like dusted. They're just gone, and we see Hawkeye be like, "Where are you guys?" And then he's just running. Like I love
Dissipating
that.
cloud.
Yep,
Yeah.
just a dissipating cloud of dust.
Yeah.
And as a, I'm sorry.
The thing that I noticed right out of the gate too, like in that like introduction scene before we get the actual title, a lot more cursing that I picked up in a normal MCU movie. I was like, okay, they're going for a more like realistic approach, like, and I love how they handled Tony Stark right out of the gate, because whenever he gets home, he's like, he still has massive beef with Captain America, because like I was watching this and I'm like, oh yeah, they never really encounter in Infinity War. Like they're separated throughout that entire thing, so you never have to deal with that conflict. And the way that and I think it's an incredible performance by Robert Downey Jr. Just like his frailness and his brittleness, and just like it's that short temper snap that it was like, this is gonna be great, and I'm curious to see what they do with this arc throughout the film.
I think it's 100% underrated. We've just gotten so used to Robert Downey putting such great performances into this character and nailing Tony Stark, Iron Man to a T, that this one could get lost if people don't talk about it. But his interaction with the rest of the bad Avengers, when he gets back, like he's obviously happy to be alive, but man, is he still ever pissed off. And the simple fact that everything happened and how everything happened, he's even more pissed off that they weren't there together. And yeah, it's a great performance, especially right at the beginning there. And then it follows on to when they go back to find him 5 years, 5 years later, and he's in the house with his daughter, and he's still giving those great speeches, those great moments, and tells them, yeah, sorry, I've got what I want. This is what I want. I've moved on, like everybody else was supposed to, but he actually did. And then they put that little bug in his head, and you know how Tony gets with that. So it's an amazing performance the whole way through. I really loved Iron Man's performance, Tony's, Robert Downey's performance in this whole movie, so right up till the end.
What I miss? Sorry.
Nothing really. My one little gripe though, kind like, it's like I'd say my one sort of problem throughout the whole thing, and like that I was kind of like, maybe I need to rewatch it more to sort of get the pick on it. But if you didn't watch Captain Marvel beforehand, like the movie itself, and then like you're going into this fresh, not knowing Captain Marvel at all, you would think she was like one of the bigger assholes, like even more so than Iron Man, Doctor Strange. She just sort of came off like that. I'm like, I don't understand why you're going off about that. Like considering like this would be like now 20 years after we originally saw her in Captain Marvel. Like I don't know. I didn't get the motive right out of the gate.
Well, I
I
mean,
didn't see Captain Marvel.
I
And
think she's just
They didn't
confident.
need to.
She hasn't gotten her ass beat. She's like, what? I can take on anything. You know?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think she was an asshole. I
Yeah.
kind of actually thought her whole thing was believable when it's like, we're reviewing, it's like, listen, there's not just Earth. Like, there's tons of planets, and there is
planets.
not an Avengers. And it's like, oh shit, that's right. Like, we've seen the Guardians and all that, but it's like, you think back to that scene in Guardians 2 when, Rocket and Groot and James Gunn's brother, I don't remember the character's name, they're all going for the thing. You're like, yeah, none of those have a team of super people who are like able to just be like, oh, someone's trying to fuck up our planet. Hey, assemble. It's like they're like, oh, we're fucked. Hello, Overlord. So that makes me. She didn't come off. I thought Brie Larson is a great actress.
Yeah.
I
I was also super worried. Sorry. I was also super worried that they would use Captain Marvel as a crutch, whereas like, oh, we're in trouble. Captain Marvel, come in to save the day, and like, and they almost did, but they, but yeah, they did some things in an end battle that was like, all right, that makes some sense.
I'll tell you what, it was one of the things that I was the most apprehensive about when I did it, because when Wonder Woman came out and Wonder Woman was such a huge success, they did a bunch of reshoots to put her into Justice League more to capitalize on that. What impressed me about this was that like Captain Marvel was in the movie for what, 15 minutes?
She was barely in the movie, yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
You did not have to see Captain Marvel to see Endgame, but you had to see, as long as we're talking about movies you absolutely had to see before you went and saw this movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
You absolutely had to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, because so much hinges on that movie and the end of that movie. It is remarkable. But I like Brie Larson's portrayal here, and she was brutally honest, like she was in Captain Marvel the movie. She basically said, yeah, like, listen, I'll go kick Thanos' ass right now. She goes down, Cap tells her we're a team, you don't gonna do this. And then she reins it in, and she's like, okay, I'll go down there and do some recon. Comes back up, yeah, dude's all alone. and that's good. And then saying like, listen, I can't be at your beck and call. I might not be here next month. You guys might not see me for a year, because there's an entire universe of planets out there that I have to protect that don't have a team of Avengers working for them. So
I did, the moment was in the trailer, but I actually like more, which this happens sometimes when you have these like little snippets in trailers and you're like, okay, how's that scene played out? I really like that moment between Captain Marvel and Thor more in the movie than the trailer, because I was like, when you see where Thor is at the beginning of this movie, that moment is kind of like, it's a little bit cooler in the context of just like where his headspace is at when he calls Stormbreaker to him. I don't know. That was
Okay,
fucking cool.
I am curious to hear what everybody's thoughts are on how they handled Thor, because I was talking to some friends after, and my friends were like, yeah, if you were like a big Thor fan going into this, you were almost let down. Like you wanted to see him in full force, and he was kind of like put off to the side for a little bit. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think.
As a big Thor fan, I wasn't, and good on as a man of big girth. Good on them for finally giving me proper representation in the movie. I was like, what I thought was going to be like, because when they show that scene, which I thought was hilarious, having the characters back for Thor Ragnarok, I thought that was great. And then I was like, okay, so now they're going to go and they got Thor back and he's a god, so he's going to be like, like Chris Hemsworth, like 98 pack again. And I'm like, no, whole movie, he's chubby. Good on them for sticking with it, because that actually makes sense. Why, when it's like the world is ending, is it like, all right, let me just first hit the gym real fast? I was like, no, that's cool. Good on them. And I liked him. I thought he was great.
I felt just the opposite.
He was still badass.
I felt just the opposite. I loved
it's
Thor,
straight out of the
but
comic.
but it's like, and they played it for jokey was like Fat Thor in that scene, and I really thought they were going to do like you said, like suddenly it was just going to like, I mean, he like just call his God lightning or whatever, and suddenly he's wearing a different outfit. So I thought he could just do the same thing with his physique, just be like, boom, okay, now I'm back in shape. But which would have been a little odd, but I just thought that the whole Fat Thor thing played through as a joke for the movie. It was just kind of,
It was.
I don't know, it just got a little old.
Here's
It was nice. It was nice in a movie that does get very heavy, to still have it be like, even if it's not a. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this that doesn't maybe come off like, but like, it's kind of funny to still be like, oh yeah, Thor's fat. Like that is kind of funny that he still is fat, isn't it? Even if they're not putting it out.
I will say Thor is still probably my favorite character in the Avengers, and I'm sure I'll get to the endings later. But I have never been more excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 now. I really hope he's part of it.
but,
And I will. Sorry, Caleb. I'll let you go just a second. I just want to make a point. I think it's important to mention that what the Russos did in this movie very, very well is I just read a graphic novel called it's all about the superheroes of the DC universe having a place to go to get help called Sanctuary, and where they can go and they can relieve themselves of all of their stresses and stuff like that, because they get PTSD from all the battles and stuff like that they go into. I like that the Russos showed that PTSD, especially in Thor. Like Thor literally took this the hardest of everybody because he had a chance, and Thanos reminded him of the chance that he had at every waking moment. And him staying, it would have cheapened the moment if you just would have went like, let's get them Avengers, and lifted up Stormbreaker, and all of a sudden he's all svelte and ripped up and shredded again. I loved how they go to in the past, and they see his mom, and his mom's like, the last thing she says, eat a salad. It's so awesome. Sorry, Caleb, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just to kind of piggyback off what you said. I think what they did with Thor was great, because this kind of like tragic comedy thing, where it was funny that he's kind of in this state, but it also has this underlying tone of like this depressing feeling. Yeah. And honestly, I was like nervous when it's like, oh, we're going back to Thor 2. Like nobody likes Thor 2, but then it was like what they did with it. Well, like that made me like, okay, Thor 2 actually like had some enjoyable things in it. And like I like the scene with Rene Russo and Hemsworth. I think that was really well done, and I think they kind of fixed Thor 2 a little bit for me.
It's so weird to say because like as I was watching it, I was like, okay, you have to watch Thor: The Dark World before you watch Avengers: Endgame.
Yep, you do.
Which is sort of a weird thing to say. Also, whenever Thor whenever it's him, Cap, and Iron Man fighting Thanos at the destroyed Avengers Tower, whenever he grabs Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, I lean over to my brother, like as soon as he grabs it, I'm like, okay, either Cap or Iron Man is deemed worthy of Mjolnir. It's just a matter of who. And then whenever Cap grabbed the hammer in our theater, there was like an audible like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, I was like,
well,
thank God, because I'm pretty sure that's the moment from the comics.
Can I say my things about Thor?
Yes.
I just want to say that it's the greatest thing of all time that they call him the Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
If you know, like, there's reference to a movie at the end of the movie when he's looking through to the sea or whatever it was, the lake, I don't know, whatever it was. That's the reference to Big Lebowski when him and Walter are on the top of the hill and towing.
Yeah.
Also, I think it just makes sense what they did to Thor in this movie, because if you say it like that, the last two movies he's been on a ride, like on an emotional ride, and like if you apply it, like let's say to a normal human being, what will happen to anybody if they've been like in a year they lost literally everything? Like you will fall in a tremendous depression, and I don't think we take it that seriously, because Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War he's been playing like the comedic relief of the movie. And it's just like I just think it just makes sense to it, and I was happy to see Korvac with him, and as I think we're gonna talk later about the end, right? Yeah. But it was a good, like they said, like I don't know, when Thor Ragnar was around, 2016, they say that Thor and Hulk were gonna have a 3 arc movie. Like 3 arc, like a 3 arc structure in 3 movies, and they characters.
Yeah. Just to backtrack a little bit, because I think we're jumping all around the movie at the moment. I think the way Ant-Man came back was ridiculous. Like a rat just happened to
funny.
walk over the button to send him back from the quantum realms. Like it just seemed too convenient. It's
Dude,
just,
that rat is the true hero of the movie.
But you got to think that yes, that for that moment that happened, but there's 5 years when nothing happened to make that happen. So
Nope.
well, yeah, no, I know, but I mean, I feel that they could have that it better. Like maybe like Ken Jong as the security guard just messing with the controls or something that's more. Because I mean, like the rat just happening to walk over the key to.
it was a little
press the
convenient, but yeah.
I like that,
yeah.
I like it.
I mean-
It made sense because who would have known that Scott
Nobody.
was trapped in there? The only people.
Well, yeah.
The only thing that might have happened is that
the
somebody
only
that knew
people who
Scott
knew-
brought it to the Avengers, and like Bruce figured it out or something. That's the only
Yeah.
thing they could have.
But,
I-
but the thing
I
is
think
that
the
the only
fact
people
that-
who knew about that were the Van Dykes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody, nobody knew it except people who dusted. So I think it was perfect because Ant-Man's all about little animals. He's the wasp, the ants, the flying ants, and a rat. Of all creatures, a little tiny creature like a rat walks over the thing and turns it on. I thought that was perfect. And him sitting there with the sign, like there's no sound, and he's like jumping up and down, trying to get the security guard's answer. I thought Thor. I thought they played some humor in that movie, and they placed it perfectly. The humor wasn't outlandishly out of place in spots. They did it at the right point in time. Like Scott Lang had a lot of really funny moments. The taco moment when his poor taco gets completely obliterated by everybody dumping into the thing, and then Hulk just comes by and gives him 2 tacos, and he smiles at him and stuff. Absolutely hilarious in the right spot.
Yeah.
And I think that's overlooked as well is how good the Russos made sure that it was done properly.
But
Yeah.
even with that, just
yeah.
talking with Ant-Man is that moment with the columns was just so the way Paul Rudd played that is just so like when he doesn't know what happens, he's walking around, he tries to ask the kid, he doesn't get anything, and then he sees that, and then it's the moment when he goes and you're like, oh my god, he's looking to see if Cassie's on there. And the thing I love is like as an audience, we're with him too. Because we're like, fuck, wait, no, not little Cassie, like no. Like I think like you gotta imagine like as a New Yorker, the way I took that moment because I grew up on Long Island, been to the 9/11 memorial a couple of times. Like it's a similar thing. Like imagine if you were in the quantum realm and you came out like after September 11th and you just had no clue and you're walking around. It's like that's how they played Scott Lang. It's just like this horrible galaxy-defining thing, and he has no clue. And then the realization that people he loved could be dead was just fucking heartbreaking.
Nope.
I love the way that they interpreted Ant-Man into like the whole grand Avengers scheme. Because I think if you're to sort of like dissect the MCU piece by piece, I think Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp are the ones that sort of like feel like almost like their own movie. Like it doesn't necessarily feel like an MCU movie. They're heist movies with like an MCU sort of vibe. And I like the way that they blended the styles, like with the time heist and whatnot, and incorporating all the characters. And it wasn't like they did the heist and stuff, and there were still laughs, but it wasn't cheesy. Like I think there was actually like some good thought process going into it. But also, you guys were talking about what Hulk lost. Sweet fuck, was Hulk great in this?
Awesome.
There's something at
I
the
did not
end
like
that
Smart. I know I'm in the minority, but I didn't. I'm in the minority, but I did not like Smart Hulk. I want my Hulk, mean and brute and primal.
I'm
not a fan of Smart Hulk.
I think you're gonna get that later because if anybody paid attention to Tony Stark's funeral, whenever they're going back, Hulk is scratching at something right here, which is probably a long shot. I'm probably speculating a little bit too much, but I think we're gonna get Meister Hulk.
No,
Meister Hulk has that great white fucking beard, and he's a fucking badass.
That's not. He wasn't scratching at the beard. That was on the side where the Infinity Gauntlet was, and
okay.
he was in his sling with the burned up arm, which was still all burned up, and his face was still burned up. So he was still scratching the.
Okay, because I thought I saw like the starting of a beard, like like a couple
be
minutes
awesome.
later, and then it was like, yeah.
That'd be awesome, but I don't think so. But I think another moment that's being like not overlooked, but I love that when they go back in the past and they see Hulk just going the original the angry Hulk ripping through that thing, throwing everything. He's like, I guess this is superfluous, and he pulls off his shirt and he goes,
I'm sorry, that's
so great
in the diner with the kids, and then like with Scott, like, hey, come on, here, what you feel like? It's like
so funny.
Oh my god, like they made Mark Ruffalo a Hulk. Like you see Mark Ruffalo in interviews, like all he needed to do was spoil the end of this movie, and he would have been Mark Ruffalo in
so good.
It was great.
But yeah, I mean, quickly going back to the Ant-Man coming out of the quantum realm thing in the towers, that's probably going to become a new most paused scene in the movie because if you look at some of the names in there, there is a few X-Men names thrown in there because, from what I've heard, is the actual alter ego of Sunspot is written on one of those columns.
Interesting.
So
okay.
There's probably a few Easter eggs like that
Logan,
as well.
Where the fuck were you guys? What were you doing with Thanos Attack? Thanks a lot, you lazy fucking upstate New Yorkers.
Anybody else kind of glad that they didn't do like any X-Men, any Fantastic Four?
Yes.
I figured if they're gonna do anything, maybe Silver Surfer, but that's what it is.
I didn't think they were going to do anything at all, especially with another X-Men movie being released after this. I think they were not going to confuse people with that. And I think they're going to. I think they're still going to wait another year or two before they even do anything.
Yeah, I didn't want any more world building or anything else. I just wanted all the book to be closed, like all the loose ends tied up. I just wanted to focus on this story right here.
I agree with Caleb. That's where my head's at is like the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. That's going to be the next couple of phases. We'll start bringing them in. This was the end of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
The X-Men and Fantastic Four were not part of it. This was the culmination from Iron Man to Infinity War. This is the endgame to it. And so if you didn't need to do world building because they did that over the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I think where they could have made a mistake, and I'm glad that they didn't do it, is that they brought up Adam Warlock in the last Guardians movie, and if they had brought Adam Warlock in because he is the absolute center, him and Silver Surfer are the center of the original Infinity Gauntlet storyline. If they'd have brought him there, I'd have felt that Captain Marvel became cheaper in her movie, even though she wasn't in this movie much. She needed to be there, and Adam Warlock is one of the supreme beings of the universe, so, and locked in the Soul Stone. So I was really worried, but so happy when they didn't do that. So they did it exactly the way they needed to with the originals, and that's it.
And I mean, I think the one thing we're forgetting is that Fox still wasn't closed at the time that they were forming this, so they probably didn't want to throw any X-Men stuff in anyway, just in case the Fox deal wasn't closed, was still on the table at the time of release. So.
I mean, it was still possible because let's not forget the shawarma scene was like filmed 5 days before the premiere.
But that's a post-credit scene, like not like a major and I just think it would have taken me out if they would have been like. James Howlett something. I'm like, wait, so Logan's in this? Where the fuck was he?
I think if they were going to do anything, it would have been something super subtle. Like people have talked about, like in Spider-Man, when they talk about they've sold Avengers Tower. Some people saying that's going to be the Baxter Building. That's who they sold it to. You know, I think if they did anything in this movie, it would have been something super subtle like that. They would not have done anything overt.
I mean, like as I mentioned, like one of the subtle things they did do was include some X-Men names in the vanishing list.
I don't
of
think there
names
were. I just saw it for the second time today, and I know all the
well,
X-Men names. I didn't see
as
any,
I said, no, I was
might be.
watching. I was watching an Easter egg thing. One of the names on there is the alternate name to Sunspot. It's Sunspot's real name. So, like, that's the only one that they mentioned. So, yeah.
I don't think that was a if there are X-Men names up on the walls of the what did they call them, the disappeared, if they're the vanished, yeah, if there is, cool. That's just that again that's just Marvel and Disney saying this is it. Let me unzip it for you and showing who has the big dick in the thing. I just bought it, and you know what? We're just gonna show you that we own it, and here's all these names that are over here.
They probably did that before they bought, because they're like, we're so prematurely sure we're gonna buy it, because if we don't, you will.
Yeah.
But I mean, but like talking about Easter eggs, the various references to comics throughout the movie was just incredible. Like having Cap saying "Hail Hydra," the original Ant-Man helmet.
So when that moment
good.
happened, I nearly fucking shit my pants because I was like, I can't put, because how I imagined what happened was, I imagined there were two writers in the room, like doing the script or whatever, and this would have been like probably just after, because when it happened in the comics, like it was like big news. It was big social media news, and I remember, and all I could think of in my head was like the two writers in there could be like, hey, but what about $5 that I can't throw in Hail Hydra in say like Captain America and have it make sense? Sure. And then they did that because Cap's like, oh yeah, I remember the events in Winter Soldier, and then walk into this elevator, pretend that I've been on it, and then just walk out.
Yeah.
And they would have nothing to say about it because it wasn't revealed at that point in time that Hydra was involved. So Cap's saying it. Of course, Cap has to be included. It was great.
Yeah.
To jump sort of off that, what I really loved about this movie is all the references to the previous Marvel movies. Like, just the subtle, like, just like, all the like, Robert Redford popping up, and Natalie Portman, and Rene Russo, and all that stuff. And then also, just stuff like, talk about Ultron again. Like, yeah, you know, wouldn't it be great to have this planetary-wide defense? Tony, you know what happened with that. Even something just as subtle as, like, Frank Grillo and Chris Evans being in an elevator again as those characters.
I've been talking about that, but I have to rewatch Winter Soldier again, but I'm pretty sure the people in that elevator were the same people in the elevator in Winter Soldier. All of them,
except for the bald guy, he was
except for Sitwell and the other suit jacket guy that was in there.
All the
rest
the tactical team was the same.
Which that makes sense because you're like,
well, it's Romulo's team.
I just love how this movie makes it feel like every single thing in the MCU like has a specific purpose. Like the stuff with like Thor 2 that like never really played a big part in like Age of Ultron or anything like that. Like it made just everything feel like it had so much more weight with all the little loose ends that it had, like bringing back Alexander Pierce and all that. Also, I just love that they Back to the Future 2 like the Avengers and Thor: The Dark World. Yep. And Guardians of the Galaxy. That was so much fun. They just
and what they did in that
future tuned it. And
exactly. And what they did in that Quill scene was awesome. When Quill lands on that planet to get it, and he's sitting there, and when we first see it, we can hear the music and we can see him dancing and stuff like that. And then it sees it from the third person perspective, and he's just like, hey, you know, singing and dancing. What an idiot he looks like. Exactly.
So it's basically an idiot. Yeah.
Or like on Asgard, when Rocket jabs Natalie Portman with the thing to get the stone out, and then he's running and he's like, Thor, we gotta go, and you hear all the guards, come back, Rabbit, come back.
I was
laughing.
I love the moment. I love just talking about that scene before I get to my point. It's just when he's holding his hand out, waiting for the hammer, and then it's like
Takes
Rene
a little
Russo is
second.
just like, it takes a second. Like it's like, oh, nice.
Can I
but
just go ahead? Go ahead. Finish.
Well, no, what I love just going off that again is just like this movie, just by doing that, just it again makes the world seem so much bigger. Like seeing the events, like the end of Avengers, like directly after, like, oh yeah, that's right, Shield and Robert Redford was Silver Secretary. Like, yeah, they would have shown up and had to deal with all this after. Felt like you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, this just makes sense. It just makes that world, which for me is like remembering 2012 and like holy shit, all these characters from these four other movies are teaming up together. This is nothing's gonna top this. It's like the Russos were like
Yeah.
10 years later were like hold my beer to us. Was just fucking cool.
For me, one of my favorite scenes was when they went back to the 70s and Tony had the heart to heart with his father
I loved
about fatherhood and all that, and he just meant like the way he mentions there's like that he's got a daughter at home, and there's like it's just one of those things like Tony wants to tell his father that he's a grandfather, but he can't say it out. But it's like, oh yeah, I've got a girl at home. It's like, and then there's a scene sort of at the end where he's getting into the thing, like his final sort of talk with his father. It was just so emotional, and the fact that they actually brought back someone from Agent Carter, which I still say is one of the best TV series out there. And they brought James Darcy as Edwin Jarvis back, and now this was his only appearance in the movies. Full stop. It did seem weird that the fact they didn't bring that same Howard Stark back as well. They stuck with John Slattery, which is played
because this
He's
is
older.
the 70s, and if you remember in Iron Man 2, the footage that he watches of his dad is from 1972, so it makes sense that he would be him by that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
I'll have to rewatch Agent Carter because I don't know sort of how much. Because I know the first series was the 40s, shortly after the events of First Avenger, but I think the second series was a few years late. Was a further along than the 40s. I don't know sort of what period that one was set into. I mean, it's just one of those ones that seemed weird, but it's like, well, John Slattery was Howard throughout all the movies, so it just made sense, and he's just stayed it.
Well, I think wasn't it the same in the Ant-Man movies
Yeah,
when
he
they
was
went
in
back to the
Ant-Man.
80s? Yeah, he was in the 80s. So having the same actor that portrayed him in the 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s, because he's the same actor that dies in the video that we see in Civil War. So using that guy as the thing, you can't go all the way back to the original one because he's way too young. So I think it was the right casting choice. I thought it was once again an absolute brilliant scene from Robert Downey Jr. Just like, and him stumbling and forgetting stuff, and almost forgetting the Tesseract twice. Giving him a hug at the end there and stuff like that, and then him going into the cab and asking Jarvis, "Do we know that guy?" I don't think so. Oh, all right.
It was just sitting here thinking while Malcolm was talking about it. It's the Field of Dreams moment when
it is.
Kevin Costner sees his dad and he introduces his wife and his daughter. And it's like, but his dad's super young, so he can't be like, hey, this is your granddaughter. It's like, this is my daughter. It's that same moment. Now I just want to cry more. Now it's connected Field of Dreams for me.
Speaking of go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, also in this 1970s segment, I'm going back to cameos. You had the second cameo by one of the Russo brothers' community cast members. It was Nicole Brown after Ken Jeong as a security guard. So.
I was just about to bring that up, Brian.
I love Nicole Yvette Brown. That was so good.
Yeah. No, the Russo brothers' end goal is to bring every community cast member into the MCU because they did it with Danny.
We're gonna get Chevy Chase. Yeah.
They did it with Jim Rash in Civil War, and now they've got Yvette Nicole Brown and Ken Jeong. So every community cast member is going to be in the MCU eventually.
And actually talking about people in community cameoing, earlier on, you had
Yeah.
Joe Russo cameoing in the Captain America.
And that was a great scene.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were sitting there going, they could have probably taken that out, but I loved the stuff where it actually showed mental illness. Like, this hurt everybody across the world, and it was important to show that. And I didn't care if the first hour was slower because of it. I wanted to feel that impact weighing me down, tearing my heart.
All the scenes at the beginning where the characters are just talking about how tragic this whole situation is. I love that it didn't immediately go into let's go punch. It's like, this sucks.
Yep,
I can't get over this.
I think what stings usually is because, and again, I think this movie benefits from the 3-hour runtime, because most movies are like this. They need to start off sad, that way you're like, oh, it's sad, but they're like, yeah, but we really need to get to the wham, bang, pow action. It was like, here, no, they were able to sit. And the thing I liked, just little things of just like how you analyze the trailer to the actual movie. It's like, you watch trailers, it looks like Cap's a part of these sessions, but he's running them actually, which you're like, no, it makes sense that he's been dealing with shit like this since he got woken up from the ice. He's been dealing with all this, like, everyone I know is dead.
Yeah.
This shit, like, he's been dealing with this, so it makes sense that. But yeah, that just keeping on that opening stuff, I thought what they did with Thor was just touching on it again was so and how Chris Evans wrote. People will give him credit for being as good as an actor as he is.
Yeah.
Just the silent sitting and that stare of just like what I imagine in his head is just, you should have gone for the head, is just playing over and over and over again.
Which I have to say, that is one of my favorite moments of the movie, is when he does go for the head.
Yeah.
And he chops it
I
off.
went for the head.
Yeah, they were kids, a lot of kids in the theater. I was like, those kids just got fucking adulted real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's it. PG-13 means parents strongly cautioned. I hate people that look at PG-13 and think of it as PG. It's not.
That moment, though, shows that, like, the fact that he didn't go for the head in Infinity War was eating away at Thor.
Yep.
It was destroying him on the inside. Like, that moment made sense within the character decision. That's what I love. Every single thing, it's like these writers know these characters backwards and forwards.
Yeah. And also, like, it's one of those ones that, like, once again, the people who made the trailers did the good job of sort of hiding some, like, the big things. It's like in the scene where they're all walking to the quantum realm, in the trailers you see Mark Ruffalo as Hulk and Thor as Thor, the way they looked before the movie, and then it turned out, like, which didn't spoil that we were going to get smart Hulk and fat Thor. So I mean, once again, they did a great job for those trailers hiding that.
Can we now call bullshit on the Russos' trailer only scenes in the first 15 minutes bullshit? So
because Ronan, that shit ain't for the first 15 minutes.
And them going back in time ain't from the first 15 minutes, and they were walking down that plank in every trailer we had. So,
well, I think that's
to be fair, the vast majority of it was the first segment. I don't know about 15 minutes, but probably more like first half hour, maybe.
I would say first half an hour, yeah.
Because they wanted to cover up the thing that I think a lot of us were probably shocked by, the whole 5 years later thing. I think none of us really expected that. You know?
Well, I think actually I did from some of the trailers, because you saw, Scarlett Johansson with the blonde hair, and then with the blonde hair at the ends because it's growing out the red. So you knew there was some serious time advance.
Yeah, because it takes a long time for her to grow. But I was just shocked because I presumed that the way the time travel was going to work was they were going to go.
Talk about how great Scarlett Johansson is in the movie.
What?
Are you talking to us? Because we can't hear you.
Oh, you didn't hear me? I cut out.
Yeah.
Oh, can we talk about how great Scarlett Johansson is in the movie? I think she's there with Robert Downey Jr. in the performance. I think she just, like, the sacrifice makes sense for her. Like, you believe in her, like, the whole time. Like, she has many in the movie, and that one was the one that surprised me the most. I was thinking, like, Stark or Cap were gonna die, and maybe, I don't know, someone else, like Nebula or something. But like seeing Black Widow sacrificing herself, like, for And also, my favorite scene in the whole movie is when after that, when Thor, Hawkeye, Cap, Tony, and Hulk are tagging like in the bay or what or in the lake, and they're just like as the original team, like it hurts like as a group, like there was no way like she was coming back and it just hit me. Like
Yeah.
I watch it and cry like the day that I watched I was just like it hurt me. And there was this 40-year-old lady next to me crying with me. It was nice. It was
Yeah.
not my mom.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Black Widow's sacrifice, going on that was, when Hawkeye and Black Widow were going to Vormir, it was, in my mind, it was like, well, one of them is going to die. They've already announced Hawkeye's bloody TV series on Disney Plus, and gave the synopsis. It was like, well, Hawkeye's not going to die. But then I
Well, there's a
remembered,
Black Widow movie.
I
Yeah.
was getting to that. Then I remembered, oh shit, Black Widow's also got a movie coming out. So, but the
I think
but
Black
what I was-
Widow's movie is the prequel, though. So
yeah. Well, that's one thing I do remember is I remembered them saying that the Black Widow movie was going to be a prequel, but because they gave the synopsis for the Hawkeye TV series, which is Hawkeye teaching his daughter, sort of passing on the mantle of Hawkeye to his daughter, stuff like that. So by the way that was framed, it's like, well, there's no way it's going to be Hawkeye that's going to die. Really.
I loved a lot of that scene, but there was something just I don't know. And again, I don't know how you do it better, but I thought there was just a little cheesiness to that final moment. Just like I'll be all right. It's like no, don't say anything. Just let go. Like I just felt like that final line was like a little bit.
you
but
gotta remember though, what's the rule getting the Soul Stone? That you have to sacrifice something that you love.
No, and I get
And
that.
so,
I just thought that.
No,
that
but I
line
thought
just wasn't
I think it's very interesting that when Scarlet does sacrifice herself, that Clint still wakes up and gets the Soul Stone. So that must mean that there's like some deep love between the two of them, even if it's not romantic love, but there's that
Yeah.
really
No,
love
you-
connection
I think it's
between
always been
those two.
understood.
That's
Yeah.
from the first Avengers movie.
Exactly.
Remember when Clint's under? She doesn't want to kill him. Like she knows she might have to, but that whole
Mhm.
time that they're fighting him, she's like, "We need to get him." Like that's again going back to that movie. There's still, man, can we see what happened on Budapest? Like that was apparently some real cool shit that they're still talking about it.
Yeah,
Still talking about it.
I actually believe that that's probably what the Black Widow movie is going to be, because like as I was thinking, is like a good framing device for it would be maybe to start off with Hawkeye talking to his daughter, going, "Let me tell you the story of Natasha and sort of what one of our missions
right.
together." And then
It's-
that sort
This
of,
is the story of how I met Natasha. that's how
well,
we do Black
the
Widow.
difference is it's not going to take 9 seasons. It's going to be one movie.
Bob Saget's gonna start doing the voiceover. Bob Saget's gonna do the voiceover. That'd be great. Yeah, I did love her, and I did love that moment that it was all the original Avengers, and just that sense of like the image from the MCU for a very long time was that 360 cam shot of all of them, and the fact of like that's incomplete now. Like at that, it's very incomplete by the end of the movie, but at that time it was like really incomplete. Of like, no, she's not coming back, and I really give them credit of even with Hulk snap, she didn't come back. Like they didn't cheap on that. They were like, no. And even Gamora is Guardians 2. Gamora is still dead. Like I like that
Yeah,
they
they can't
did
undo
that.
anything that was done. Yeah.
I really give them credit because it would have been so easy to have done that, but to be like, and now it's like Guardians 3 is going to be really, if Thor is in it and with Guardians 1 Gamora being in it, that's going to be fascinating to see how they handle that.
And
I have a question about
While
Gamora.
while we're talking about Gamora, right quickly, probably like one of my favorite lines in the movie is, "This is the person that I fall for. It's literally either this or a tree."
Or a tree.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
with
That's
Gamora now in theory, Guardians 3 part of that will focus on him searching for Gamora.
Of
But my
course.
question is, when Tony snapped out everybody that Thanos brought with him, he hadn't known that Gamora would turn good. So did she dust? We don't know. I'm sure she probably didn't, but
yeah.
Well,
They're figuring out that because she came in and fought with
Yeah,
Nebula,
but
that
she was fighting. We
yeah.
had that moment with Captain Marvel and all the MCU women. So I think
I hated that shot so much, only because there was no. Well, it's such a pandering fan service shot because it's like if there's some explanation, that makes sense. But hang on, but there's all these women who are scattered across this gigantic battlefield, somewhere in the air, something on somewhere, and also there's all like, oh, let's all meet over here and protect Peter Parker. It's like that just seemed kind of out of nowhere. Like, all the women just went to one spot.
I mean, yeah,
but
I think it was okay. So I understand. I understand why people weren't a huge fan of it. I think the intent was because they had it. No. Because they had a. I mean, yeah. But they had a similar moment in Infinity War when it was just what's her name from Black Panther, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and yeah. So it's literally just a one-up moment where they add in Rescuer, which I didn't think they were actually going to follow through with. For Endgame, they added in Valkyrie and they added in the Wasp. Like I think it was meant for that. And I think that battle in general was just meant to be a huge one-up moment. Like whenever they bring in Black Panther and he does the Ibambe, I'm getting chills in my spine now. Even just thinking
that whole higher end battle. Since we're on the topic,
like when they're bringing in everybody else, I'm like, you could bring in like the Power Rangers, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be cared.
That would have made it cooler.
Yeah. On the topic of that end battle, sorry, Malcolm, go ahead.
It's all right. I was just going to say, in that final battle, Thanos had some really badass lines, like when Scarlet Witch comes up against, like, I don't even know who you are. It's like,
but her response, you will. And the fact that they didn't bring Vision back yet, it was awesome. And it's just meaningful. I mean, like shit. Well, we got to get back on track. Like, where the hell are we in the movie right now? So,
but just sticking with that fun about finally being able to hear Avengers Assemble, right? Saving it for this movie was so. I literally the hairs when first Black Panther walked down, then they're all just coming out, and then it just goes to that shot of Chris Evans, and I'm like, it's gonna happen. Avengers, and he does it like Bruce Campbell, like. Avengers Assemble. Like if you're a fan of the Evil Dead movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like it's a very Bruce Campbell delivery, which creates cool. But I was like,
I cheered, I clapped, I cheered.
That wasn't my I clapped when the hammer went to
here. Yeah,
I did do that. I did that too. I clapped a bunch of times.
Like I saw the Avengers, back in 2012 when I was 12. I was 12 at the time.
6, 5, 4. How many years old? 2 years old.
No, I was 12 at the time, and it blew my mind. It was insane, and I loved it. And seeing that again, but now like seeing the battle and all these characters coming together, and the culmination of feeling like. Everybody coming together on like the tenfold scale. It was amazing. Like that was everything that 12-year-old me could have hoped for. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just yesterday, moment. Like.
No, but like it's so cool because I was just going on. I was 15 when that movie came out, and I remember me and all my friends, a lot of whom I was talking about with this movie. With it was like. When we were 15 and we all saw that movie, we were like, there's no way this could be better. That New York battle when they're all there's no way. It's like to cut to now and it's like, holy shit, they found a way to make it better. And it all feels natural. Like Avengers of 2012, that team up felt natural. This as well feels natural. And it's so cool and it works so well. And I love just seeing the dynamics of just like, how people work off each other.
And tip your hat to Kevin Feige because nobody believed before Avengers came out that you could put a group of very high paying actors together and make one movie where nobody was like the biggest ego on the center. And they made it work. And guess what? they upped it every single time with more and more people, because more and more people, when you do something right, more and more people want to be part of it. And that was, Kevin Feige, God.
A moment that Star Drew wanted to mention her quickly, and one that I thought was very cool. Whenever like Doctor Strange and them come in, what's the first thing that you hear from Falcon on your left?
Yeah,
Just a very
very
subtle, very subtle callback, and it was like, okay, this is starting to get awesome now.
The one thing I really did like with Doctor Strange and with Iron Man, that moment on the battlefield, is where he's like, you said like, there's one time when we win, is this it? And I love how he's like, if I tell you, it's not going to happen, because I'm like, that just makes, as a comics fan, that's such like, when multiverses crossover, and it's like those small little things of just like those butterfly effects of just like him even going, yes, that fucks everything up. I loved that.
And then later, when Doctor Strange holds up the one, letting Tony know it's time, it's like, once again, it's like it's him saying it without saying it.
Also, I mean, just sticking with that, I love the fact that the line that in a lot of ways started Tony Stark's story and the MCU is what ends it, which is I am Iron Man. I was like, that is not a quip, it is a quip for him, but like, no, that's the line that started his hero journey is the same one that's ending it. And I was like, that choked me up, because I remember 2008. I was 11. And watching that Iron Man movie was just like, I didn't really know anything about the character. I was like, oh, that's a really cool movie. And to think like 11 years later to see what we've gotten, and that's just like
it's
so cool. And it's something that like telling 11, if I could somehow time travel and tell 11-year-old me, I would never believe. I would have been like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Next, you're going to tell me that Batman's going to be a villain in a Spider-Man movie.
Like it's so funny. It's so funny to me, and it's nothing against the young people on the panel, but you guys are so spoiled. Just because you didn't think something like Endgame would be as big, ever be as big and stuff like that. We didn't have superhero movies except for Superman and Batman '89 and those ones. Those were and that's it. Like we didn't have.
Supergirl.
Please, really? You want to watch a Flash Gordon movie and say,
Yes.
like this is on X-Men or Avengers standards?
I didn't say it was.
No, it isn't. So I mean, for me, it's just I sit back as a fully grown middle-aged man and I go, holy crap. Like for me, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, because it is something so far out of the realm of possibility that I wouldn't have imagined 20 years ago, that to have these there now, it's truly a golden age of movies for movie geekdom and nerddom. It's so awesome.
Yeah. One thing I really loved about like the final battle was like the fact that they gave sort of everyone a good shining moment in that battle. I mean, there was a few people which like didn't make an appearance in there, which I did think would, but I could kind of, because I mean, from what I remember, there was no sort of Nick Fury appearance in that final battle.
In the movie,
he doesn't say a word. He's literally in the film
Not
for
a
like
word.
5 seconds.
I was
5 seconds at the end.
I honestly thought when he stands up, I thought he was gonna like have again, this is just like not me being a great screenwriter, but like you did good, Stark, or like something when I was like, you know what, actually, it makes sense for him not to talk. Like actually literally makes sense for the character to. And again, Sam Jackson, I think, doesn't get credit for being a super amazing actor, but like you read it all in that face of him seeing this was the guy who I contacted first about this initiative, and this is what he's done now. This drunken asshole weapons dealer who didn't give two shits about anyone else just saved everyone. Like,
yeah.
I love the Downey arc. I've already said that, but I really love the fact that he made that kick-ass blue Iron Man suit for Gwyneth.
Oh,
And
rescue.
yeah, exactly. And she's in there and she's fighting and she's with him, and then she's there at the end with her daughter. And I love the video, the holographic message that he leaves for them. It was such and the last person that we see in that funeral, that funeral procession there is Nick Fury right at the end. Like, I brought Iron Man in, and I'm here to see him go. And I thought it was the perfect.
I also
end to
love
his
that
arc.
moment with Happy and his
And his
daughter,
daughter.
because
I'll
the
get you all the
Because
cheeseburgers.
if you remember when
Iron
he
Man,
comes back, the first thing he wants is a cheeseburger, and it's just like that little moment of like,
Your
you
dad
said
like
you're like
cheeseburgers.
cheeseburgers.
Another
Also,
I'm gonna
also the little attention to detail when they brought back the kid from Iron Man 3, because people from work were asking me, who was that kid in the funeral? I'm like,
It was Iron Man 3. Yep. That's
You can tell there were only about 10 people in my theater that actually knew who that was. And everybody else was like, "Who's that kid?"
The guy me didn't know who he was, so he leaned over to me. I'm like, no, that's the kid from Iron Man 3. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Talk about sad things. I was talking with Kristen Smith about this. You know what's really sad now? And Far From Home is going to deal with this. Peter Parker has now lost the only two fathers he ever knew. Ben Parker and Tony Stark. And we're going to deal with that. Now we know, I think, why Far From Home is the end of this phase instead of Endgame. Because that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. And actually, talking about that, it's going to be interesting to sort of see how they deal, because now it's been sort of 5 years since Infinity War effectively. They're going to have to do some creative stuff by going like all his whole old school pals got dusted along and then came back, so they're all the same age, because otherwise you're going to end up with Peter being at school. Well, most of his school pals are all 5 years later and possibly graduated from high school at this point.
Yeah, you just have to assume that any of them that are in Far From Home got dusted too. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like the shot at the end with him meeting up with Ned makes me think that, well, Ned probably got dusted as well, because he's still the same age as he was in Infinity War. So
since we're kind of at the end in the funeral area, two questions. With Captain America on the bench, is that just the world's best makeup job, or was it an actual older actor and just using Chris Evans?
I think that's the world's best makeup job. Because coming on
most
towards the end,
believable old age makeup I've ever seen ever.
Yeah, because coming on towards the end, I'm like, yeah, that's Chris Evans' nose, like that's his cheek structure. And I'm like, that's actually really good.
I don't know.
It may have been some computer stuff too, but still, it's amazing.
Have you guys ever seen A League of Your Own?
Yeah, I have.
Gina Davis, because it could be that. It could be where they just cast someone who looks a lot like the person.
That's why I couldn't figure out which one it was, but I'm thinking that there's some computer work in there too. I don't know, but whatever they did, it was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age, if they can make Gary Oldman look like Winston Churchill, if they can make Christian Bale look like Dick Cheney, they can make Chris Evans look like a very old man. So,
but I'm saying that was just
there's something about old age makeup that always just looks off. Usually,
but that's what I'm saying. I believe that, but it's also like, yeah, they made They made Robert Downey Jr. look 17, but there's still that little bit of uncanny valley to it.
Yeah, but I think that one. I mean, I think with that one, they de-aged Robert Downey by computer the same way they did, I think, with Michael Douglas.
That's the only way they could do it. Yeah. They actually used Hulk's time travel, and they brought back Robert Downey Jr. from like back to school. They were like starring this movie.
The other thing from that same scene, I want to hear everybody's take on this debate. I think Bucky should have gotten that damn shield. Not Sam.
No way. No way. Bucky is way too much of a Bucky is way too much of a controversial figure in the world to be the world's savior, to be the beacon of hope. And giving it to Falcon was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do in the comics, and it just played out the exact same way. I think that Bucky sending Falcon up there was Bucky's way of saying, I've already said my goodbyes to him and stuff like that. And him going up there and doing that was one of the well, by that time I was already crying. The last 25 minutes of this movie I was not nonstop crying. And that, like, when I saw him there, like, because I already said that I knew that this was going to happen about 15-20 minutes into the movie, that Steve was going to go into the future or go into the past and stay there and go with Peggy. So when it actually happened, I was just a mess, but I was so happy with what he said to Sam and how he unzips the shield and it comes up and it's still in perfect condition. And he says, you know, try it on. And Sam's like, what? And
So
I
he brought the
loved it
shield
all.
So
from
I
the
have
past. But
point.
my question is, where did he leave Mjolnir?
I guess
Yes.
we'll find out.
Where did he leave
He
Mjolnir?
took it with him.
Asgard.
Didn't have it at the end. So at some point because he went. Captain America took it back with him.
Is
Yeah,
it in
he
that
brought
Apple
it-
maybe?
But in the past, he took it back to Asgard.
Because
remember,
he
jumps
would
around
have
in
had
time.
because he would have had to go to
That's possible.
Asgard
That's
to
what I'm
drop
wondering.
off the reality
It's
stone.
something we don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe. We don't know.
So I have something to say about Kappa. First thing, so it looks like how they did Old Man Steve is similar to how they did Tarkin in Rogue One, because on IMDb, the actor Patrick Gorman is listed as Old Man Steve Rogers doubled, so it seems like it's a mix of they had an onstage old person, then with computers sort of did the face to be more Chris Evans. But yeah, I was telling these guys this before, but what I loved was Cap is my favorite of the MCU characters. He rivals with Peter Quill, but Cap has always been up there as my favorite. And what I loved was I kept thinking this movie was going to get his soldier's end. He was going to die on the battlefield with Thanos. Like, that was going to be it. And then he doesn't. But what I realized was that's because in First Avenger, he got his soldier's death. With the plane and with all that, that's a soldier's death. He gets to die a man now. He got to live the life he never got to have. And that's just something really beautiful, and just that's why you end that movie with that dance. It's just like, yeah, that's how that character should go out, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, just to backtrack a little bit, going back to the Falcon point, Falcon becoming Captain America essentially makes sense because while in the comics, Bucky was the sidekick for the comic run. In the MCU, it was Falcon was the sidekick. Bucky was kind of still in the past or still being held by Hydra. So Falcon and Captain America have that connection as sidekick and hero. Well, Bucky was just not the sidekick throughout the MCU line.
So this is actually the point where we're actually gonna wrap things up. We're at about an hour 15 here, and if anybody has noticed, I've actually been nodding off a couple times throughout here. But I'm gonna go to each and every single person. It's been a long fucking day. Each person. We'll go to Brian first. Your final thoughts on Avengers Endgame.
Well, you've heard me talk about a couple of nitpicky things I didn't like, with Thor, with Smart Hulk, and that. But I mean, anything I had problems with this movie were purely nitpicks. I love this movie. I put it like 4.5 stars last night. Saw it again today at 2:00, and I bumped it up to 5 stars. It's I love the movie. Any problems I have with it are just like little nitpicks. And looking forward to seeing where this goes. We didn't really talk about it, but I want to see where the TV shows take it, especially with Loki took off with the Tesseract, so I assume that has to do with his show. And the last thing I will say, I'm waiting to see, because somebody's already made them, is some kind of computer net meme of Thor in his Lebowski outfit dumping out the ashes of the Asgardians. They got dusted, but just saying.
Bowman.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I mean, I need to see it again, but I think it's probably my favorite of the MCU. I need to do those rankings, but right now, that's the way I feel. There was nothing, like, I didn't even have any nitpicks with it. I loved absolutely everything about the movie. It felt like just the culmination of everything that I've spent these last 11 years watching and all these movies. It just felt perfect. Like, just everything wrapped up. It hit me emotionally. I got some good laughs. I got some awesome moments. It was everything I could have wanted from the movie.
Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, I really did love this. It's probably my favorite movie of the MCU, and we didn't really touch on this, but Stanley's cameo in this was really great.
I was going to do that in mine, Malcolm. Good job.
But yeah, this was just like all the moments, and I just can't wait to see sort of how Far From Home sort of deals with everything that happened in this and everything. Just yeah, it's just really exciting to see what the future of the MCU is going to look like after this.
All right, Kurtz.
I've been when talking about this, I've been comparing it for me to Harry Potter, to the Harry Potter film series, because that was a film series that started when I was very, very young, and it ended just as I was starting high school, and so it was this weird like, oh yeah, this story is done and it's completed, and I've grown up with these characters. This started when I was 11, and I'm about to graduate college now. And so it's this weird thing where it's like, this story is done, and I've grown with these characters, and now I'm going to have to move on with some of these characters not being there anymore. And it's that really weird thing where art and life kind of are on the same track. And you guys know, if you watch this, I'm not always the biggest Marvel guy. I'm not. But there's just something that you have to give credit for. They've been here for 10 years. And I might not love every movie in the MCU, but just what the Russos and Kevin Feige and then going all the way back to Jon Favreau and Josh Whedon, what all of these people were able to do is unprecedented. It's amazing. And I'm really, really happy they did, because over the last 10 years, they've given me a lot of great moments, a lot of good laughs, a lot of good cheers, and now a lot of good cries. So just my hat's off to them.
Sandy.
I mean, I love the fact that we've talked about this movie and that we all love it. I love the fact that we live in this age of movies where I used to get beat up for loving this stuff, and now we're the majority. The Avengers is going to break as many records as possible, and that's a great thing. The only thing that we never really talked about, and that I'll give a shout out, is to Alan Silvestri's score for both this and Infinity War. Absolutely unbelievable. The Thanos's theme is so menacing when you listen to it. When it doesn't matter, it does not matter. You hear that Avengers theme, and every hair on my body just stands at attention, like it should. And I absolutely loved it. So congrats to Alan Silvestri. Congrats to the cast for giving us so much to do and so much to look forward to. I know that we're going to miss Robert Downey Jr. I don't think he's gone forever. I think that we may see him in other things, maybe past type of things, but I don't think he's gone. Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, all the original guys, Jeremy Renner. Hats off. Thank you so much for giving us this much pleasure for 10, 11 years.
So my final thoughts are quick. I instantly compare this sort of movie-wise to Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street was a 3-hour film, but it felt like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, this is a 3-hour film, and it flew by. Another thing that I love what they did, similar to Infinity War, is they let their dramatic moments breathe. They had a moment, they sat there, and then they moved on. They didn't go right into a joke. Cough. Thor Ragnarok. Cough. Sorry, little frog in my throat there. I love how they're able to balance things out. Where you had your laughs, you had your tears, you had your moments of awesome. It's a masterpiece. this is a masterpiece. For a lot of people, this will be their generation's Return of the King. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
But that is going to wrap things up. We'll do plugs super duper quickly. Sandy, plugs very quickly. Go.
Anywhere you want to find me, S Robinson 1799. Thanks so much. Watch Full Metal Trivia. We're in tournament mode.
Kurds.
Kearns_Matt Matt Movies 611 on YouTube and WordPress. You can also find me right here hosting Second Look and Rhyme and Reason with Sandy Sandman Robinson.
Malcolm.
You can find me hosting Rankum on Sunday nights. This week is superhero themes. You can find me on Full Metal Random and everywhere else.
Bowman.
See Brian Michaels plug.
Brian Michaels.
I was gonna say you guys know where to find us if you're on these fan leagues. So whatever. Multiplex, Warzone. We got our team tournament going on right now. Singles tournament coming up. Watch them.
Twitter, for myself. Twitter, and Instagram with RealBK10. Shootbox Trivia on Mondays. We have an Epic Capitals Mystery Iron Man match and a Eagles playlist coming up on Monday. And then right here on Limited 3 and also Multiplex Take 3. I'm just jumping to better. Cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.